Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about sleep. Today I wanted to talk about an important topic out there, the so-called Z drug. So what does that mean? Everybody's heard of Ambien. Most people have heard of lunesta. Some people heard of sonata. These are under the category of what's known as Z drugs, because the generic name has a Z in it somewhere. So zolpidem, which is Ambien, Zaloplan, which is sonata, and izopiclone, which is lunesta. Now, these medications are in a category together because they don't. They have certain properties that are the same across all three, that are similar to what are known as benzodiazepine medications. So, what are those? Those are the ones everybody's heard of. So, Xanax, Clonopin, Ativan. These are medications which are technically anti-anxiety medications that we sometimes use in the sleep world. The Z medications, again, that's Ambien, Lunesta, and Sonata. They have some properties that are the same as the benzodiazepines, but are a little bit different. So the way we think of Ambien, Sonata, and Lunesta is the following. So Ambien is considered to be kind of the standard insomnia medication. You take it around bedtime, it helps you fall asleep, may help you to stay asleep. Lunesta is a little bit longer acting than that, and then Sonata is the short acting one. So Sonata is used for either getting to sleep initially or in the middle of the night. If you have at least 4 hours in bed, you take that to help you get back to sleep. Lunesta typically is given before bedtime to help people more so stay asleep, and then Ambien can be used for either. Then there's also the delayed release Ambien version or the sustained released, the Ambien CR. So all these medications they're basically they're essentially just sleep aids. They don't really help with anxiety. They don't help with any kind of other underlying issue, and they really they should be used really just as an as needed basis, right? But what I see in my practice a lot is people use these medications every single night. So what I tell people is this. When Ambien is prescribed, or Lunesta is prescribed, or Sonata is prescribed, my question is always, is there something else that's being missed, right? So let's say somebody wakes up frequently throughout the night, and the well-meaning whoever prescribes them Lunesta to try to keep them asleep. Well, that's good. I mean, that can help. But my question is always, well, why? Why is this person waking up? Are we missing obstructive sleep apnea? Are we missing leg kicks or body movements throughout the night? Or are we missing depression, right, that's causing somebody to wake up? Because the medication, like these Z drugs, is not going to help with that. It may help with the symptoms, but it's not going to help the underlying problem. So when somebody comes out to see me and they're on these medications, particularly if they're not working, I will say, all right, let's try to evaluate this. So I tend to stay away from these medications unless somebody has tried other things and failed, right? The reason being is because these medications in the medical literature have been shown to have increased risk for dementia, for memory problems, with even death. Now, I don't necessarily believe that data, and I'll tell you why. These are usually epidemiologic studies, which basically means that they take thousands and thousands and thousands of people and they kind of see what happens, right? So in the studies that have been done, it's been shown that, okay, if you take this medication, then you're at risk for this. But it's not necessarily I took it and then this is what happened. It's I was prescribed this medication. So the person may not even have taken it, or they may take one dose. And what I always tell people, especially in the dementia realm, is, one of the first symptoms of somebody getting dementia is they have very bad sleep problems. Now, I'm not saying anybody with insomnia is at risk for dementia. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, though, is what can happen in a data study, for example, would be, let's say there's an 80-year-old person who is in the beginning stages of developing dementia, and the primary care, the geriatrician, prescribes him Ambien. It's not that the Ambien caused that. It's that the Ambien was used to try to help some of the symptoms, not that the Ambien caused the dementia, if that makes sense. But that's not really why I try to avoid these medications. As I said, these medications really they're kind of like Band-Aids. So let's say somebody does have depression. Prescribing them Ambien or Lunesta is not really going to help that. It's going to, maybe just knock them out, but it's not really going to get to the root of the problem. I would rather try something or prescribe something that may help with some of those other issues. For example, I like trazodone, Trazodone. This is a medication which is in the psychiatric realm, an antidepressant, technically, which is used by psychiatrists at very, very high doses for things like bipolar depression and other things. We use it in the sleep world at a low dose because it does kind of help calm the mind down, and it induces sleep, and it's not addictive. So that's something which I tend to gravitate towards. Doxepin, same way. But the Z drugs, while they're not physically addictive, right? So the benzodiazepine medications, the Xanaxes, the Clonabins, the Ativans, these can be physically addictive. Where what I mean by that is you take them frequently and then you stop, you may go into withdrawal, right? Ambien, lunesta, sonata, they're not going to cause withdrawal. Now, they may, if somebody takes them every single night and then stops, it can be a hell of a night, or several nights with really bad rebound insomnia. But they're not going to go into withdrawal. Okay, so they're not addictive in that sense. But they are addictive psychologically, right? So I have many patients who have been on Ambien for 10 plus years, and I say, look, let's try to come off it because there's better things out there, and I don't think it's helping enough. And they have a hell of a time doing it. Fortunately, what we'll try to do in that case is supplement with something else. Yeah, so these medications, like I said, I'm not a big fan of, but they are out there and they can be used in certain circumstances. So how would I use them? All right, let's say somebody was diagnosed with sleep apnea, right? And they're very hesitant about using the CPAP machine, which is understandable. What I may do in the beginning is a very, very short course of a couple weeks to say, all right, look here, let's try Ambien while you get used to the CPAP machine, just to kind of get you over that hump, to show yourself that you can do it. Or conversely, let's say somebody's tried every other medication under the sun and Ambien is the only thing that works for them. What I may say is, all right, look, we've ruled out all this stuff. Ambien really does work for you. It's better for you to have some sleep, even if it's on Ambien, than no sleep at all. This is my just personal opinion. Other physicians may have their own ways of doing it, but that's kind of the way I think of it. So that's a story. Again, the Z drugs, Izopiclone, which is lunesta, Zolpidem, which is Ambien, and Zaloplam, which is sonata. So that's kind of the long and short of it. These are, as I said, medications that are very, very common and are out there. It's they do work in certain cases, but really the question is, as I always say, is what are we missing? All right, so that's the end of this video. Thank you for watching. If you have questions, please leave them in the comment section. I will answer all of them. Please like this video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel. My book, Let's Talk About Sleep, is available on Amazon. In May of 2019, the paperback version will be available, so you can look for it then as well. And until then, sleep well, sleepers, and I will talk to you soon.